Hello, welcome, and thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. Happy Easter Monday. Topping our newscast tonight, one man is dead and several others wounded, including a police officer after a weekend shooting on St. Croix. The deadly melee took place early Saturday morning outside a local nightclub, and police have 5 people in custody. News 2's Erica Parsons has that story.
All is quiet now, but on Saturday morning, this area was the scene of a deadly shootout that left 1 man dead, a police officer shot, several others injured, and a car accident a couple of miles away. 5 people are in custody for the early morning shooting Saturday. Police combed the area outside Frontline Bar and Nightclub, searching for clues and evidence to help piece together just what happened before 3 a.m. on April 19th. Witnesses reported to police that a man and his girlfriend were confronted by several men as they were leaving the nightclub. Then shots rang out and the boyfriend was killed while sitting in his truck in the parking lot. An off-duty police officer who was inside the club was called to the gunfight by witnesses. When he identified himself and ordered the suspects to drop their weapons, he was also shot. Police were later called to the scene of a car accident near Morningstar. The driver and a passenger were injured in the wreck, but police also found 3 more people with gunshot injuries in the car. They were all taken to the hospital for treatment, where they remain. Another person who was not involved in the fight was hit by a stray bullet, and that person is also being treated at the hospital. Police have arrested the 5 occupants in the car, even though they remain hospitalized. They have been identified as Elijah Felix, Eugene Roberts, Derek Liebert, Lester Roberts, and Larry Williams, all under the age of 30. Now, police say they're not releasing the officer's name for security reasons, but they have identified the victim as 33-year-old Matthew Vernedge Jr., and while calls to the hospital were not returned by news time, we do know the officer was shot in his back and in serious but stable condition Sunday, while the other injured remain hospitalized. Reporting from Juan Louis Hospital and Medical Center, I'm Erica Parsons for News 2.
In some other information, police seized at least 5 guns from the suspect's vehicle, and those 5 men are being charged with first-degree assault, among other charges. And turning to our Carnival Corner, if you're a follower of one of the biggest Carnival celebrations, chances are you already know how this weekend's Carnival Queen competition turned out. But if you're not there, here are the highlights.
Virgin Islanders will brave a drizzly sky if it's to see 5 lovely young ladies vie for the most coveted title in the Carnival celebrations, the Carnival Queen 2014. The Lionel Roberts Stadium was packed with an enthusiastic audience who cheered the contestants from their introduction to a unique and colorful swimwear portion, to the cultural wear, where costumes boasted an elaborate display of painstaking craftsmanship. The talent portion was a smorgasbord of extravagant props and skills. Let me see you raise your hand. I put them in the air. And the evening wear portion was, of course, simply dazzling. Young women walked the stage, visions of elegance and grace. But in the end, there can only be one Carnival Queen, and that honor went to And so 18-year-old Dejanique Navarro, a senior student at Charlotte Amalie High School, made history, taking home the crown to reign as the 2014 Carnival Queen. Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
And congrats to Dejanique. Now, the very next day, many of the territory's finest talent made their way back to the Lionel Roberts Stadium on Sunday with their parents for the annual Toddlers Derby, traditional games, and also Best Dressed as a Doll competition. 15 adorable young ones competed, and here are the winners. Group number 1's winner is Leila Amor. In group number 2, the winner is Aliyah Esprit. And then group number 3, the winner was Tamai Davis. Congrats to all the competitors. Now, hundreds of children were on hand as they participated in the assortment of games and festivities. The event then moved on to the Toddlers Derby we're looking at right there, which drew many youngsters from about 8 months to the age of 7, who all hit that red carpet. The parents did whatever they can to draw their youngsters to that finish line. The younger ones crawled, the older ones ran like champions. Now, the day concluded with the traditional games, which gave the young ones an opportunity to revisit the past of their elders. The games included marbles, jacks, two-wheelbarrow, and the spinning tops. Now, Carnival is in full swing at the Roy Lester Schneider Hospital. The lobby area has been transformed for the annual pre-Carnival celebration that all began at 6 p.m. Hospital Carnival. Now, Tuesday, April 22nd, it's the Junior Calypso competition. The young ones get creative with the lyrics of their songs at 8 p.m. Wednesday, it's the Cultural Night, King and Queen of the Band at 8 p.m. Thursday, the older Calypsonians compete. Then Friday, April 25th, it's the opening of the Royal Palm Carnival Village, 6 p.m. at the Fort Christian parking lot with a ribbon-cutting ceremony honoring Percival Percy Taylor and David Dee Dee Sharp Dawson. Well, a power surge on St. Thomas Saturday afternoon knocked out some of the Water and Power Authority's feeders, leaving many households and areas in the dark. According to an article in The Source via Jeraine Fleming, who's the utility's public information officer, the feeders are being repaired one by one, bringing the power back carefully so that whatever tripped the surge in the first place doesn't recur. At the same time, the authority is investigating what went wrong, she added, in the hopes of preventing a repeat. Now, an update was not received by News Time. Be sure to count on 2 to keep you updated. Well, have you heard about the heartbleed bug? Innovative companies are taking some precautionary measures to protect customers from that bug, which causes vulnerability for internet users. Fortunately, there have been no incidents involving innovative customers. The Innovative Information Technology team is undergoing daily preventative measures. A security patch has been implemented for the company website, which is www.innovativevi.net. Innovative has an aggressive fraud detection program and daily 24-hour monitoring of global threats. Innovative, however, recommends that customers periodically change their passwords and use a unique password for each site. Well, runners are proving they are Boston strong at the 118th Boston Marathon. It's the first marathon since last year's bomb attack that killed 3 people, injured more than 260, and forced officials to stop thousands of runners just before they could reach the finish line. CBS's Alexis Christoforous is in Boston with that story.
Crowds cheered as runners crossed the finish line at the 118th Boston Marathon.
It was amazing, just electric.
Meb Kevlezky became the first American man to win here in 31 years.
This is beyond running, it's just for Boston. We are resilient, we never gave up.
And Rita Jeptu of Kenya repeated as the women's winner in record time. They were among the nearly 36,000 runners and 1 million spectators who helped the city celebrate the return of the race after last year's deadly bombings. This is Doug White's second Boston Marathon. He was wearing his inspiration under his sleeve.
MR8 for Martin Richard. He represents to me everything that was taken, and I plan to run to give it back.
Once the runners cross the finish line, many come to the medic tent. Last year, many doctors here went from treating aching legs to saving limbs and lives.
I saw the amount of destruction that the bomb had done.
Dr. Martin Levine has 20 years experience working marathons, but after the horror he saw last year, he wasn't sure he was coming back.
I was thinking, all right, enough. I did my thing, enough.
But then he decided a better legacy would be to help train the next generation of first responders. Alexis Christoforous, CBS News, Boston.
And keeping our eye on the economy, it's back to business on Wall Street after a long holiday weekend. Large companies are starting to report their first quarter earnings, and so far, many are positive. Here's the New York Stock Exchange with our stock market watch. Everything up, the Dow 40, NASDAQ 26, S&P 7. Coming up on News 2, campers pack up as the annual Easter tradition on the Big Island comes to an end. Meanwhile, some of those campers got a view of a brush fire that spread quickly on St. Croix's East End, destroying more than 150 acres. We'll be right back. sea turtle nesting season, and as a precaution, Sandy Point National Wildlife Refuge has closed as a precaution to protect the nests and hatchlings of the endangered leatherback sea turtle. Now, Sandy Point will reopen in September. Those who are interested in watching the fascinating process can do so by signing up for the National Park's Turtle Watch program. The turtles begin nesting in late February and March each year. The first hatchlings usually emerge from their nests during April and continue through August. Now, a single footstep over the hatchlings can kill those near the surface. With the Easter holiday over, campers on St. Croix began packing up and leaving the beaches. Most people have to return to work Tuesday, so many were seen loading trucks and cars with their belongings like beds and tables and all the items that made camp their home away from home. Some chose to relax after packing up to enjoy the last day of freedom, while children were seen getting their last swim and frolicking in. Others chose to remain for a few more days, so their tents were still up. About 150 acres of land was destroyed on the east end of St. Croix over the weekend. A brush fire that required about 700 gallons of water occurred near the Creamer's Park Beach, heading towards Point Udall. NEWS2's Shanika Robinson has details.
A brush fire destroying approximately 150 acres of land occurred over the weekend on St. Croix. The fire reportedly started near the Creamer's Park area, heading towards Point Udall.
There was a team of about 8 firefighters from Grove Place Fire Station, Christiansted Fire Station, and the Cotton Valley Fire Station. They were led by Captain Henry Joseph, and they used approximately 700 gallons of water to extinguish a blaze.
No injuries were reported as a result of the fire, and the department is currently actively investigating the cause.
Firefighters received reports of heavy vehicular traffic in the area, which led us to suspect that the ignition source may have been of human involvement.
The following are a few tips to remind campers and residents of ways to avoid brush fires.
If you're a smoker, we would ask that you keep your cigarette butts inside your cars and not stick them outside, especially during our dry season. As of right now, we do have a burn ban in effect, so we're asking everyone who's out there camping to safely discard of their campfires or their cooking fires safely.
Also, park vehicles so that the exhaust system does not come in contact with dry grass, weeds, or leaves. Never fuel a lawnmower while it is hot. Give it a few seconds to cool off, and store gasoline only in approved containers and away from heat sources such as pilot lights and gas grills. Shanika Robinson reporting for NEWS2.
Be sure to count on NEWS2 to keep you updated on any information regarding the cause of that brush fire. Well, there was a little commotion Saturday morning in the sub-base area when a parked vehicle exploded. The owner of the vehicle, parked outside of Doctor's Choice, was already inside the pharmacy when the explosion occurred. Bystanders tried to quell the blaze, but it took the fire services to control it. No one was injured, according to preliminary reports.
One unit responding for a hotel company. Upon arrival, they found a black Ford F-150 fully engulfed. Bystanders tried to get to it, but was fully engulfed with flames. Fire crews began extinguishment, brought the fire under control within 10 minutes. The arson and prevention unit was called to the scene to determine the origin and cause of this fire. This fire is under investigation at this time.
Well, it may only be a matter of time before the territory has its own School of Medicine. At a meeting on Saturday, the University of the Virgin Islands Board of Trustees allowed UVI's president, Dr. David Hall, to begin the development phase of the medical school, which could open as early as 2017.
Development stage will involve us coming up with a curriculum, a budget, a fuller understanding of the accreditation process, and also securing additional funding, because even with the gift that we'll announce on Friday, we're going to need additional contributions.
Well, be sure to stick around. Your NEWS2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.